Alright, I'm going to teach you something new today. It's going to look really hard at the beginning, and then I will break it down so much that it will be the easiest thing I've taught you in like 3 weeks. Way easier than yesterday's work. Of course, if you pay attention. Was yesterday's work easy? Alright, that's cool. Alright, so today I get to teach you about vertical angles. Today's date is 3/15/23. Alright, we're ready? Okay. Alright, so does anybody know what vertical angles are? I like that definition. That would be a good definition to get you started. Wow. Does anybody know what vertical means? Like not math related, but just vertical. If something is vertical, up and down. All right, cool. Very similar to what we're going to be needing to know for math. Okay, so let's define it first. So, I can't spell. Vertical, there's a C in there. Angles are bullet point number 1. So, vertical angles are congruent, which is a fancy word that I will tell you what the definition is in a second. Are congruent. Bullet point number 2. Are opposite from each other. Bullet point number 3. They share a vertex. Now, some of this might be like, what is she talking about? This is the definition, but she's using words I don't even understand in the definition.
I remember vertex, but I forgot where.
Okay. I will go over each of these bullet points. So let's write it down, and then I will break it down for you. But this is the official definition of vertical angles. There's 3 special things that need to happen for it to be called a vertical angle. Vertical angles. Did I tell you about March? This what I wrote up here. All classwork from January, February is will close March 31st. So if you have Miss Soner, you're used to having her like close assignments like a month after, right? You only have 4 weeks and she closes it. I don't close them, but I had not a fun time grading things in December that you guys had to turn in August. So I don't want to be May and grading things that we're doing January, right? That kind of stuff. Exactly. So all the work from January, February, and March 10th, which was last Friday, will close March 31st, which is the day right before spring break. So all of those assignments will like disappear. You won't be able to click on them or submit pictures. So if you have anything to do it in the next 2.5 weeks that are left before January 31st. Everything will close. Okay? And yeah. All right. Grades are due the 31st. I got to turn in grades that day. So it's perfect. Grades are due. Any makeup work, cool. And then it closes. And then when we come back from spring break, we'll continue. You have catch-up. You have catch-up days every time you finish your test on Friday. Every Friday, if you haven't noticed, is usually a catch-up day.
Okay. Why are you talking to what is that?
Richard, this is when I prove to whoever I need to prove to you, counselors, parents.
Oh, is that like your mic for the video?
All right. Let's focus. Congruent. Does anybody know what that means? Okay. Congruent is a fancy word for equals. So put an equal sign. In geometry, we don't say things are equal to each other. We say in geometry they're congruent. Congruent means equal to each other. This circle is congruent to this circle. This diameter is congruent to that diameter, okay? All right. Does everybody understand the word opposite? Like, what is the opposite of up? Down. What is the opposite of left? Right? Okay? Those are the opposites that I need today with this. So when it says opposite from each other, if one's on top, the other one's on the bottom. They share a vertex. Now, a vertex might be new to you. Do you guys remember when we were drawing angles, the dot that we drew, that we put on the upside down triangle? Well, that dot has a name. Vertex. I just didn't call it a vertex the first day because it's kind of scary. It's a scary word. So, when you have a dot and then an angle, the dot, the quote, dot, Destiny, the dot is actually called the vertex. Okay? So the dot that I had you guys draw, D-O-T, that spells D-O-T, is actually the vertex. But I don't call it the vertex on the first day when we're doing protractors because there's a lot of things going on. So the dot is called the vertex, okay? So with vertical angles, 3 things need to happen. The angles have to be equal to each other. So if one's 100 degrees, the other one has to be 100 degrees. They have to be opposite from each other. So if one angle's on top, the other angle's on the bottom. And they have to share a vertex. So they have to share this dot. They both come off this dot. Okay? It's going to look confusing, but it's actually really easy. It's easier than yesterday's work. All right. So what I need you to do is we're going to draw 2 intersecting lines. What does that mean, Miss O'Malley? All right.
Lines that cross each other.
Yep. So I'm going to do kind of like this.
X.
Yeah, like an X. I do, but you don't have to. Because I write bigger. You can fit this underneath your notes. That's fine. Did everybody take their elective survey? Cool. Raise your hand if you chose a different elective than this year. Just curious. You chose like something completely like, oh, I'm going this way. Okay. Alright. So let's label this angle A, B, C, and D. Because do you guys see the 4 angles that I created?
Yes.
So that's angle A right there. That's angle B. That's C. And that's D. Right? They're all just different. Okay. So I want to know, what are my vertical angles? So which pair of angles are vertical to each other that are shown here? Now remember, vertical angles are opposite from each other. They're equal, so they should look alike. And they share a vertex, which we'll leave that alone. But think, okay. Let's look at angle A. Which angle is vertical, opposite, and equal to A?
C.
C. Okay? So let's write that down, and we'll explain in a second. Angle A is congruent to angle C. Now, the way we signify congruent is actually with an equal sign and a squiggly line on top. Some of you might have seen the squiggly line in Alex. So this means congruent. Yes, we're special. We have more than an equal sign. It's like a little ñ if you're in Spanish.
Why do you need that equation to show that something's on top of another letter?
Huh?
Why
Letter?
is it so complicated?
It's math. It only gets complicated.
Right.
All right. Angle A is congruent to angle C. What does that mean? They're opposite. So to me, like angle A is on top and angle B is on the bottom. Do you guys see that? Like this one's on top, this one's on the bottom. So that means they're opposite. Now, if I were to trace angle A, this is angle A, tracing it. Is it the same measurement as angle C without using a protractor? Does it seem like it's the same opening? Yeah. They're both obtuse. We can totally tell, Alexa, that they're both obtuse. So they're equal to each other. So if this is 100 degrees, what does C have to be? 100, because they're congruent. They're equal. So if I tell you that angle A is 100, that automatically, without doing any math, tells you that angle C is 100. They're both 100. Now, where is the vertex? In the middle. This is the vertex. This would be my dot. So they share this dot, this common dot. All right, we're okay with this so far? Okay, super question. What is vertical congruent to angle B?
D.
D. Are they opposite from each other? Yeah, I would say this is on the left side and this is on the right side. You guys see they're opposite, left and right? If I were to trace it, is it the same? I know you don't have protractors. Is it the same angle? Looks the same, right? They're both acute. I know if I were to pull out my protractor, D and B would be equal. Now, okay, I'm going to ask you this. I haven't taught it to you-ish, straight, but I have taught it. Does anybody know what the angle measurement of D or B has to be? There is mathematically one answer without using a protractor. What is the measurement of D or B? There's only one answer. What is the measurement, so I'm looking for a number, of D or B? There's only one answer.
30. I say 50.
140.
35.
Okay, what if I do this? Stop. Cover this up.
142.
80. 45. 80.
Why, Richard, is it 80? You're correct.
Because one line is 180 line, and you take one number and you subtract others, and you get 180.
Yep. So I covered this up, right? But what I really did is I created a straight line. From yesterday, a straight line. And your do now, number one on your do now. Do you remember number one on your do now? Number one on your do now was a straight line, right? Yesterday they were all straight lines. What do straight lines equal to?
180.
180. So this is actually 180, right? The whole line. This part is 100. So what's left over? 80. Because what's 100 plus 80? 180. So this is 80.
I'm a genius.
Totally.
What?
Okay, you can also look at it like this. What does this create? 180 there too, right? So I know that angle A plus angle B has to equal 180 because this creates a straight line. Angle A plus angle B equals 180. Well, what does angle A equal? 100 plus, let's pretend we don't know what that is equal to 180. So what did we do yesterday? Yesterday we just did minus 100 minus 100. What's 180 minus 100? 80 is equal to x. So B is 80 degrees. So if B is 80 degrees, what do you know about D?
Man, I thought it was 81.
Those who know skateboard tricks and stuff. If I go in a full circle, how many is that? Say 360. Gosh, I wonder what do I get when I add 100 plus 80 plus 100 plus 80?
So hard.
360.
No, I thought it was 320.
Yeah, no. You didn't complete the full rotation. All right.
Oh,
All right. It is easier than yesterday, Destiny.
is it?
These kids do some weird stuff, and then I catch it, and then I'm just like, what is they doing?
They're doing the do. When you don't know how to explain it, you just call it the do.
All right. Draw a line. How many degrees is this line?
180.
Good.
Man, that was 170.
Now let's cross it like from here, like this. How many degrees is that second line I just drew? 180, right? So it's two 180 angles, otherwise known as straight lines. But start with the horizontal. That rotates a little. All right. This is going to be angle E, F, G, H. E, F, G, and H. We're good? I'm hoping to. All right. So the first thing is the super easy part. Super easy part, which is just to identify vertical angles. Okay? Can you tell me the pair that are vertical to each other and write it down? I'm going to take a water break. You do that. All right. So one pair that Destiny gave me was H is congruent to angle F.
Wow.
And Richard gave me angle G and angle E. And I totally did that on purpose. All right. So Do you guys see that E and G are totally 100% both obtuse? Right? So these two are equal. And the H and the F are opposites and equal. So like if I turn my paper, if I go like this, do you see how the F is on top and the H is on the bottom? Do you guys see that? So this one's on top, this one's on the bottom, so they're opposite. They all share this vertex. All right? E and H, top and bottom, and they're congruent, they're equal. All right? So the first part is, can you name them? Can you pair them up? That's the first part. The second part is, if I go and tell you that F is 60 degrees, can you tell me the rest? Which one's the easiest one to tell me without doing any math? H. What is H?
60 degrees.
Yeah, because these two have to be equal, right? Do we do any math? No. We just go, wait, these two are equal. And you're done. Well, you're not done. Now, how do I figure out E? What do I have to do?
So 100.
I know, because if I cover it up, look, if I do this, what do you get? You have a straight line, right? What do straight lines equal to?
180.
180. So I know that angle E plus angle F has to equal 180. These two together equal 180. So what is F? Oh, F is 60. I'm going to plug that in. Do I know what E is? Nope. Hey, this is what I did on Monday, and it was super easy. This is what I did on the Do Now. And Miss Lamelli got it wrong, but we're not talking about that.
Yes, we will.
Come on, Dustin, do the math. Don't-
No small ends.
So that's angle E.
Did you know the N in 7-Eleven is lowercase, while the rest is capitalized?
No.
Now you usually say that every time you look at a 7-Eleven sign, you'll never look at it the same way.
What is angle G? 120. Did you do any math for that one? No, right? That one's just, oh, I already did the math. So you do one problem, and then the rest are easy to solve for. All right, let's try one more. Kind of like an X, Ariel. I, J, K, and L. All right, can you tell me first the vertical angles? Please, that should take you 30 seconds. Tell me the pair of vertical angles. There's only two. So what's the first pair? Good, write it down. And then what's the second pair? Did you write the pair? I want you to write the pair before I write it down. So the one pair is angle I is congruent to angle K, and angle L is congruent to angle J. So that's your first test. Can you name them? Obviously, if you write the K first and then the I, it's still the same thing, right? So they're equal. Now the second part you have to learn is if I go, hey, I is 137, can you fill out the rest? Good. One's easy. K should be like done like this, right? K should be no brainer.
Yeah, I got 130.
So what is K equal to? 137. Did you even have to do math? do you have to do for L or J? Subtract.
Now we're looking for vertex.
Well, vertex is just your dot in the middle.
So two.
Alright, so K is 137. Okay, so I know, and you can do it this way, right? Or you can do it that way, right? So I know that I plus L equals 180. That's this straight line right here, 180. This angle and this angle. I know I is 137 plus I don't know what L is. That equals 180. So minus 137 minus 137. 43? Alright, so that's angle L. So angle L is 43. What do you know without doing any more math? So that one is also 43. So they're opposites and they're equals. Oh no, that's terrible. Alright, let's look at the worksheet I passed out to everyone except the 4 kids in the back. Alright. What information did I give you on number 1? What information did I give you on number 1? Angle 1 is 135?
Yes.
Is there another paper underneath? Only one. There's no paper underneath yours? Alright. Number 1. M just stands for measure, okay? Number 1, the measure of angle 1 is 135. So here's angle 1, and I just told you it's 135, right? Without doing any math, what else do you know? What angle? What angle? Third. So angle 3 is 135. Why? Because these are vertical, and vertical means that they're congruent. They're equal to each other. So 135. What do I do to find B or 4? This is Miss O'Malley. Hello. So I created a straight line. 135 plus x is 180. So how do I solve for x? How do I solve for angle 2? I subtract. Minus 135 minus 135. What's the hardest part of this? It's the borrowing. But we did this yesterday. You did a harder worksheet yesterday than this one. So the 0 becomes a 10. The 8 becomes a 7. What is 10 minus 5? 5. What is 7 minus 3? Yes. Yes. So angle 2 is 45. This is 45. So what else do you know? Number 4 is 45.